searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless. A sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it. And I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Yeah, don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day exploring.
My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah,
Round number 5 as we get ready to rock and roll. Michigan Speedway, arguably the fastest track in all of racing when it comes to just straight speed. We come here to this 2-mile monster of a track that sits in the Irish Hills, a track built back in the 1960s by Roger Penske and his team. They are the home tonight of round number 5 of this All-American Gen 4 series as qualifying begins, by the way. Presented by MH Designs. They, of course, have the pole award each and every week. And since we're running a little behind at the start here, we go straight down to the track, and a lot of cars already getting some qualifying laps in, but still a lot of cars left to go. As we look at the surge number 12 of Josh Dillon out here on track right now. Going to be keeping an eye on a potential track record in this session here. And I can tell you right now, it's already been broken. The track record originally 39.4. We are a second faster, 38.48, and that is Mark Whitley, the hottest man right now on the All-American circuit, looking to become the second driver in history to win 3 races in a row, or as NBC's Lee Diffie would say, 3 races in succession. But I am the captain. We welcome you in on this Friday night. Gen 4 racing as we watch Stephen Miles get around this very slick and loose racetrack. We are going to see cars everywhere tonight, from the bottom to the top. Sliding everywhere is Miles P3 3857. See who else we got out there. Let's, oh, Carrington's in the outside wall. Here's Matthew Weeks in the 11. Matthew having a great start to a season so far. Weeks went P3, 38.56. He ran the fastest second sector. A good lap on his end. Zach Henry still out there running some laps. Carrington maybe going to try again. As actually he's on his hot lap right now as he's in the inverted Dodge car. You're going to see these trucks all the way, or cars, all the way from the bottom to the top around this 2-mile oval. As Jordan Owens, 38.56, goes to P4. Carrington, P20, 39.01. That is a struggle for that 9 car. Not a good lap there for him. Anybody else? Looks like everybody else is pretty much done. So Mark Whitley's going to continue his momentum, it looks like, and be on the pole award tonight, which is presented by MH Designs, Mike Husby Designs, of course, doing the paint schemes for a few of these cars, especially the CX Squared cars. Appreciate what Mike does as we go into the warm-up session here now. And I'm very thankful for the warm-up session because this is where I get to catch up on everything throughout the evening here as we get into the race. Let's talk about the points here. As we go into tonight, Mark Whitley jumps to the lead by 1 over Casey Carrington, fresh off 2 straight wins He has the 1-point lead over Carrington, 17 back of Carrington, 18 back of the overall leaders. Matthew Weeks, Zach Henry's right there. Kyle Ethier, the rookie, having a great run in the top 5 in points. Christopher Heller running 6th in points, considering he has had all types of issues so far in the first 4 races. He's looking pretty solid right now. Stephen Myers, Miles, J.W. Miller, Mike Hamlin, and Jordan Owens, your top 10 in the point standing. Still plenty of races to go overall. We got, 9 races after tonight? And the battle's going to get more and more intense as we get closer to the end of the season, and not to mention the overall battle for the championship this season. Which I thought I had a look at, but I do not. Either way, you're not going to be able to see the points here tonight for the Rookie of the Year and stuff. I didn't get a chance to get those uploaded, but trust my word. Chevrolet leads the manufactured points by 7 over Dodge. Pontiac is 12 points back with 19. Toyota with 14. Ford with 8. So Chevy right now kind of stretching it out a little bit here on Dodge, but it could easily be a 2 or 3 horse race here unless Toyota steps up their game here in the very near future. Rookie of the Year points. Kyle Ethier now leads by 4 over Mike Hamlin and J.W. Miller. Chris Lewis right there at 4th. Leslie Law, the Daytona winner, is P5 in that category. And there's your overall standings, by the way. As I see him now on the screen, Matthew Weeks leading Christopher Heller by 2 in the overall standings. Carrington back 50. And when I say overall, you combine the 14 races of Season 5 with the 4 of Season 6 so far, it turns into a whole entire year of racing, basically, and that's how the combined standings are done. So, we'll see what happens. Michigan's going to be wild. And what I say by that is, when you look at the history of this racetrack, and I just say this, remember, the last 2 seasons here have been in the ARCA car. In Season 2, we went to overtime with 10 cautions. In Season 4, we had 8 cautions. So, yeah, we had some wrecks in this race. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that people like this track and are very aggressive on it. So don't be surprised tonight. We see a lot of tough and hard racing, but I think with the looseness on the surface, I think that could eliminate some of that close racing and maybe open it up to where the drivers are racing the track here for the most part here this evening. So we'll see. Got a lot of great things coming up here in just a moment. So I know usually I do something kind of fun, if you will, on the track here. I've been trying to do that a little bit when I have the time to, but we got about 2 minutes, so let me jump out here on track here for a second. Let me calibrate and take you for a lap around Michigan so you can see the speeds that they're running out here. This track, if you've never watched a race here, 18 degrees of banking in the corners. The one thing you're going to see me do is not run the bottom lane. Matter of fact, you've not seen me run a lap here. This is going to be interesting here. So, speed limit there on pit road, as you see, 55 miles an hour. Justin Ray having a chat with somebody. I can't hear my car, so I'm just going to go off my shift marks here as this car is going to go through me. Might be a good one to follow. Watch this grass here on the inside. You got to be very careful of that. I've hit it before in a hosted race. You hit it, it will kick you out onto the track, and you'll either get black flagged for jumping that cone right there, or you'll be the next caution. So obviously fixed setup. You want to back up the corner early here. You can run almost any groove, and yeah, you see I touch the throttle, back in wants to come around here. So you just work your way to the throttle like there's an egg in it. Pit road there can be very inviting to send it pretty deep in there. You do not want to do that for the sake of pit speed. Look at this, 195. We're going to hit 200 here. Usually I brake about that light. You want to egg into the throttle. Now watch right here. You see how my car kind of flattened out because of the banking? But that corner right there, that is going to be the corner to watch tonight, turn 2. And the reason is because of the way the transition is of the banking and the way it funnels. You can be 2, 3, 4 wide right here. In turn 3 and 4, you're okay doing it. Turn 1 and 2, not so much. All right, I guess I got to get out of the car now. So there you go, a lap around Michigan. And how tough it is to get to pit road. See how I wanted to go deep in there, and look how I sped. All right. As Brantley Roden joining us, ladies and gentlemen, as he probably watches the Xfinity race and the ARCA race at the same time. He might or might not have a couple of cars to cheer on in that race. Let's take a look at the starting lineup here for the race. Mark Whitley, 38-4 on the pole. He'll start alongside Zach Henry there. Row number 2, Matthew Weeks, Jordan Owens. Great qualifying effort for that 20 car. Stephen Miles, Kyle Ethier. Row number 3. Row 4, Carolus Thiel and Josh Dillon. Jackson Van Pelt, fastest in practice. Can he translate it to the race? He'll start next to J.W. Miller. Christopher Heller and Sean Cassidy, the Sundance Kid, will start there in the 12th position. Row 13, or row 7, I should say, Craig Martin, Colby Sutphin, Nick Leo, Dalton Wilson. Row 8, row 9, Nick Terrell, Brad Delph. Darrell Young Jr. making his debut tonight, I believe, in that 74 car. He'll start next to Casey Carrington. Tim Abril and Mike Hamlin in row 11. Row 12, Jacob Locklear and Kyle Hall. Row 14, row 13, Drayton Cook and Justin Ray. Row 14, Chris Lewis, John Kreidler. Chris Melton, Thomas Stanley, Brandon Hinton will be the 31 starters to take the grid here in the Irish Hills of Michigan. A lot of cool throwbacks tonight, I've noticed. And I think people are getting on board with the theme. Look at this car going by right here, the 99 of John Kreidler. Pop quiz. Anybody know whose paint scheme this is? I figured it out right away. If you're a NASCAR person around for history, you know this paint scheme. You got to think Busch Series, back in the heyday. You got to think the 37 car, by the way. I'll give you that hint, too. And if you remember that, I'll see some answers here, hopefully, in a second. Then right behind him here, Thomas Stanley. Look at that. The old, that's the Mountain Dew Code Red car. But how about that one right there? The 52 of Chris Melton in the 1-800-CALL-ATT Carrot Top Ken Schrader mobile. True story. I have seen Carrot Top run down the side of the road on A1A in Florida. That is a big man, and I mean that. He is huge, like muscular. And for those who have not figured it out, by the way, the 37 car in the Busch Series back in the day, Jeff Purvis drove that Wolf car. Hayes car lights are out. Of course, our camera site presented by TrackCams22.com. You check them out online on Facebook and in the iRacing forums at TrackCams22.com. Race information upon your screen. 100 laps, 200 miles. Pretty simple. 2-mile track, 83 degrees. Track temp around 112. It's slowly creeping up there a little bit. 46% humidity, partly cloudy skies. Sounds like to me a good Friday night for racing. What do you think? Appreciate the viewers watching here tonight. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. If you're not new, we appreciate it. Go share the link with some friends. Get some more viewers in here tonight. I'm going to be selfish for a second, as tonight I finished my last shift in my current location's FedEx. And to say the words excited, I know it sounds negative to say it that way. To be excited to be leaving somewhere is an understatement. Looking forward to the next adventure. But tonight, let's celebrate these guys who put on a good show each and every week on Friday nights. Tonight, the Irish Hills of Michigan puts Mark Whitley and Zach Henry on the pole. Race number 5 of Season 6 All-American Cup Series. Green from the Irish Hills. Already seeing some 3 wide back near 20th. Otherwise, everybody kind of separating themselves out, giving themselves some space here. And look look at this beautiful racing right here. Is already for the lead up front. Zach Henry going for it. 2, 3 wide. Going to cross the line. Whitley by a nose. Leads lap 1. And like I said, you will not see the cars go to that bottom lane at all. I mean, you might later in the race when the car gets tight, but that's because, again, less banking down there. As Weeks looking to the bottom now and Henry. Pulls down to the bottom there, kind of trying to break the side draft off another car. The problem is, though, is Henry's got the draft of Whitley, but actually lets Weeks go by. And look back here. Here's a kerfuffle. The 6 to the outside, J.W. Miller. The 01 car in the wall out back there. Jackson Van Pelt in the Lucky Charms car. The Surge car of Josh Dillon. You see the 8, the champion of Christopher Heller there, trying to battle with Nick Leo. This is all back around the 10th position right here. Dillon getting out of it a little bit there, just letting these cars settle in. Now, the one thing we do need to keep an eye on this race, obviously, is the fuel mileage. And I say that because, yeah, there's less fuel in these cars than normally. Normal Gen 4 ARCA car is 22 gallons. But remember, in this race, not as much gas in these cars. Should be able to get about 25 laps. If you get to lap 25, it is a simple 3-stop race. However, this is Michigan, and I will pound this tonight in this race. I do it every time we run at Michigan. You could bring all electric vehicles to this track, and it'll still be a fuel mileage race. I know it's incredibly impossible. It's absolutely impossible to do. But when it comes to Michigan, nothing's impossible, it seems like. Leo getting a little loose down there in that bottom side. Heller trying to chase him up. And you can tell Chris maybe saving some tire a little bit there. Lap number 5, his fastest lap of this race. Maybe just kind of getting the hang of things here as we ride with the Ghost Energy number 8. Let's see what kind of draft speed we get here. About 200. Heard rumors that they were hitting somewhere around 205 in practice. Up front. Of course, I cut away, and, well, there's a change for the lead. Matthew Weeks goes to the front. Zach Henry to second. Here comes Jordan Owens. The Geek Squad going to move to third. Owens having a pretty solid start to a season, I would say. I mean, he hasn't been able to put all the finishes together, but he's been solid. He's been improved. Let's put it like that. Let's see how Weeks got the lead here a second ago. Didn't catch that. Just got a run off for it, looks like. Drafted up and just drove it right across the bottom there. And Whitley probably obviously giving him some room there. Probably got some cars saving a little bit of fuel here, wanting to make sure to get to lap 25. That's why they're not in the head of the pack. I'm wondering if that's the case for Mark. Trying to think some other NASCAR memories at Michigan. Oh my gosh. You had obviously the 1991, the Dale Jarrett, Davey Allison battle. You got the Dale and Dale show, meaning Earnhardt and Jr. in the IROC race. Elliott Sadler's flip in practice over in turn 1. We blew a tire. Remember the Todd Bodine, Kenny Wallace wreck over in turn 2? That was when Todd was in the 54, was it the U.S. Air Force car? It might have been. I can't remember which division it was. Van Pelt inside of Leo, bringing Casey Carrington with him. Carrington started back in 20th, up to the 11th position, just being patient. Of course, you think of Casey Kane and how well he ran here at this track, too. When you see that 9 car. Won a rain-shortened race in 06. And then he had that race in 2003, one of his 8 second-place finishes. Before going to victory lane, actually 04, where Ryan Newman was pretty much gone on his way to the win, and he ended up winning the race, but like in one lap, all of a sudden the 9 car was on his tail, and it was like, where did he come from? As Henry to the inside for the lead. Already our 3rd leader of the race. And a lot of cars start to get pushed loose. Remember I was talking about turn 2 being, if you will, Calamity Corner. The track spreads out in these corners, then you come off turn 2 and it just squeezes. And that's where you see a lot of the inside cars will get loose. Jordan Owens going for 2nd. It is such a fine balance what these guys are doing out here. Some of them are trying to save fuel, or some of them trying to get up. Look at these cars just dancing off the corner. But some of them are trying to save fuel. Some of them are trying to get up here in the front. It is such a balance because the faster you go, the more fuel you burn. So it's like, what do you do? Thank you, Brantley. Appreciate the update there. So basically, Brantley's saying everybody should be good on 3 stops. But obviously, you got to assume there's going to be cautions in there. But you never know. I forget the year. I want to say it was 99. Brantley, if you remember this one. 99 or 2000. Mark Martin winning a caution-free race here at Michigan. Might have been 97. As Dalton Wilson, you see him leaving pit road there on the bottom. Unscheduled pit stop for the 33. So Owens is now falling back to third. Here comes Whitley back into the battle, and look who has joined. Stephen Miles in the 1 car. Unbiasedly, for those who don't know, yes, I do hang out with Miles a lot and a few others. Let me just tell you this. That dude runs laps and laps and laps of practice. I was talking with him last night. We were just hanging out. And I'd kind of caught him earlier today. I was out delivering packages, and I was stopped real quickly, and I checked Discord, and I see him streaming something over in another channel, and I look over. I thought he was running the Cup Series cars at Auto Club, which is where they're at this week in officials. No, he was running AI cars at Michigan. As Ethier looking inside of Thiel, that is for 6th. Back here, Heller trying to work the high line there. Oh, look at that. Whoa. I don't know how much that was throttle and how much of that was dirty air. Miller slid up there through the air on the nose of the 8. That 8 got sideways. Oh, I'm kind of curious to see how that looked or felt. The best 2 examples I can give you for like Mrs. Heller or somebody who like doesn't race or I race or whatever. Go down the highway and get behind a semi or a bigger truck and like just do a couple things, like literally jump out into the next lane and watch how the air, you'll feel it, changes on your car. And then get behind the semi and watch how you almost feel the car moving around because of the air. And then the other feel you can do is if you stick your hand up flat against the mirror on your driver's side and notice how the air hits around on your arm and not in your hand. So then and then just think of these cars, and then all of a sudden you get a car drives in front of you and takes the air off your nose. Some call it aero blocking. Top 2 starting to pull away a little bit. Owens under attack as here comes Whitley to the inside, looking, not able to do anything yet. Miles right there with him. Lap time's fallen off about 2 seconds here so far. Tire wear is a premium here. This is one of the rare tracks I've actually blown a tire in a ARCA car. Somebody just queued the mic, said they're getting pissed. I don't know who that was. Who's not liking this? Mom, here's the best news I can ever give you, Mrs. Heller. Best news I can ever give you. It's just a sim. He won't get hurt. Unless he's got a wheel that like yanks out of his hand. Otherwise, he will not get hurt. You don't have to worry about that. Best news ever. Whitley continuing to battle on the bottom. Nice slide up there by Whitley. Cleared him. Brantley, take it. I know that's what you were saying. Oh, somebody dropped a hot pocket back here. That is Colby Sutphin. Shout out to Joshua Gathright, by the way, who's got an awesome Facebook channel that you can watch his racing on. As far as I know, he's the one that came up with that, and I'm literally just taking it and running with it. But Colby had a moment there off turn 2. He was on the apron down there trying to catch his car. Up, another hot pocket. There's Casey trying to imitate. Casey's watching my stream. That's why he did it. One of the rare drivers that'll actually sit here and watch the stream while he's racing, which I am not the biggest advocate of, because I might say something to get you laughing and all of a sudden you wreck. As here comes Weeks to the inside. I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just not. It's like drinking and driving. Don't do it. Another car getting loose off too back there. All right, so we're at the 25 lap mark. So here we go. Who's going to be the first to come to pit road? Stephen Miles is your answer. Here comes the one. Nick Leo also coming in the 18th position. 55-mile-an-hour speed limit. Tim Abril also in. Gonna be 4 tires and fuel for all these guys here. Miles pulls away, and look at this battle for the lead again. Weeks and Henry. As Whitley and Owens come to pit road. Now, here's what you got to remember. The time you're giving up right now to the fresh tires. And they're still side by side back there. As Weeks is going to come to pit road, so Henry will take the lead. You see the Mountain Dew car in the background. Kyle Ethier, Corolla Steele. Heller's on pit road with Jackson Van Pelt and Brad Delph. Steele overshooting his pit stall just a little bit. Jackson Van Pelt back there getting 4 Lucky Charms and 25 laps or so of milk for a cereal as he rolls, as Weeks rolls away. As here comes J.W. Miller, Zach Henry on pit road now, Drayton Cook, Sutphin. Now, please note that Miles came to pit road at lap 25. Mark Whitley came to pit road at 26. 1 lap difference. And get ready for what I'm about to show you here. Thomas Stanley leading this race now as there goes Henry off pit road. So as these guys all clear, 1 lap pressure tires. Stephen Miles now with about a 1.5-second lead over Mark Whitley. So in that much time, just 1 lap, a 2-mile lap at 38 seconds, Miles pretty much made up what deficit he had, which wasn't much, to be fair. But still, it shows you the difference in time just in that 1 lap. So Miles leads, Whitley's second now. As Stanley comes to pit road. Matthew Weeks going to be third. Jordan Owens, Zach Henry going to be your top 5. Now, as I've always said, I've always been a fan of doing something different from the leaders. And as I look at the standings, I look at the laps of when people pitted and that kind of thing, knowing that Whitley and those guys came at 26, I would have probably went as far as I could, maybe get to 28 to 29. And just that lap or two of fresher tires might actually help you. So let's see what that does for Zach Henry and for J.W. Miller and Drayton Cook and those guys who pitted at lap 28. All right, so I just noticed it again. Watch this. So I've pointed this out a couple times. All right, so look where JW's running in his car. He's down here at his first groove. And then Heller's about a half a car up. Watch as these two come together into the same lane. And watch JW's car behind it. Whoop! A little sideways. Up! That's that air hitting that car. I just love seeing that. And you see Miller's gone by poor position. And battle for second, Whitley and Weeks. Move Matthew to second. So Mark Whitley still has that chance to be the second driver in history to win 3 races in a row in the series. John Eckert being the first, as he pretty much won everything the first 2 seasons. He was the Richard Petty, if you will, of the series at the beginning. I'm going to jump back here to the 18th position. Craig Martin in the 22 car. That's a fancy photo, Craig. Very Craig of you. Craig Martin making a little history tonight as he makes his 70th start in the series, which is second most all time. Congratulations to Craig on that mark, as obviously if that continues into next season, about this point next season, he should get close to the 100 mark. You see Colby Sutphin working inside on Tim Abrol and those guys, as apparently I blink out there for a second. And while that happens, here comes the newer tires of Matthew Weeks. So now you got the top 5 within about a second and a half. You got a little gap back to Carrington, who's now 6th, to Kyle Ethier right there with him. I mean, this just shows you the pit strategy and what is going on here. Of course, now you got to start thinking, all right, what laps do we come in? You got to say that Miles is likely going to be one of the first to pit road as we go 3 deep here. Whitley got a little loose there in the middle as Henry dropped it to the bottom. Well done by these guys. And some of the best racing we've seen here so far in this series and at this track in this Gen 4 car. I did talk to Carrington a little bit ago, and he said out of all the tracks, he was looking forward to this track with this car. Jordan Owens slid up there in front of Miles. He was not too pleased about that move. Owens did apologize. So we got this battle up. As back here, Brad Delph and Josh Dillon battle for 11th. Nick Leo joining this battle, and then they're about 3 seconds ahead of Jackson Van Pelt, who's got his own battle there with Drayton Cook and Colby Sutphin right now. There's still some great racing going on all over this place here, as we're just about to halfway already after one round of green flag pit stops. Let's take a look at the schedule as we come up here into the third week of September. Dover going to be next week on the 15th, that Friday night. Wait a minute, today's the 15th. Is this the right schedule? Oh, never mind. We swapped Dover and Michigan. That's what happened there. So we were at Dover last week. Michigan this week. Watkins Glen next week. I was confused for a second there. Casey's going to be like, dude. Look, I'm just going off what I had, okay? I do know Watkins Glen's next week. And up front, here's Henry. So by the way the pit stop numbers went, we should see Miles right at lap 50. We'll see Owens and a few others at lap 51 to 52. Those that pitted at 27, you would think 53, 54 laps, and then at 28 would be 55 or 56. And again, you got to think about the number of laps you stay on older tires, how much speed you're going to lose. And then that trade-off with having the fresh tires out there on the track. So, something you got to think about if you're in that car and what you're going to do. And that is solid on the wheel right there. Even the top two in this race are driving monsters of a car. So Whitley about a second back right now. Henry trying to stay up there with Weeks, who's doing a good job holding them off. And then back here now, Carrington's fallen to the clutches of Kyle Ethier. And what is becoming a battle for sixth. Check back here on a couple guys fighting for top 20 positions. 74 of Darrell Young Jr., John Kreidler, Tim Averill, 18th, 19th, and 20th here. This track has played havoc today, but it's been fantastic. And as I continue to put out there, the theory when I say this does not make sense at all. But it seems to be the way it is, and it just is crazy how this works. You get these guys out here racing on amazing loose setups, and they'll go out here and have some of the best racing and some of the longest green flag races in the world. Or in iRacing, I should say. We put them in a setup that's actually more drivable because it's tight, the car's underneath you, and yet because of them being, I guess, maybe more daring or whatever, you get more cautions. Jordan Owens, fourth position here, 2.6 back of the lead. All right, here we go. First on pit road is going to be Christopher Heller with Nick Leo. So now, and caution comes out, and Leo did not make pit road. I believe he did not make pit road. And Dalton Wilson going to be the caution. The 33 car goes around. Dalton already having a rough night. Heller's going to be good and might just take in the lead of this race. There he goes, leaving his pit stall right now. And there's the leaders coming off four. So that move right there, Christopher Heller just jumped the leaders and will take the lead of this race when they come to pit road. All right, let's take a look at the replay here. Dalton just fighting and fighting and fighting and gets a little bobble there, gets in the outside. Oh boy, this is going to hurt. And gets in the inside wall. I mean, you see him fighting. And that brings the caution out. And, of course, as this happens, let's go back here to Nick Leo. As he's coming to pit road here. Watch for the lights to the left. They're still green here. He's got to get to that cone. And the lights are red right there. So he's not even close to it. And the caution comes out. There's nothing he could do about that. Leaders on pit road. Oh, Craig Martin in the pit road wall. Henry going to win the race off pit road. And the police are out, I think. Oh, maybe not. I thought they were. All right. Talk to some drivers here. Not many options here to talk to, unfortunately, in Discord, but let's... Well, we'll talk to the champ here, who might have finally gotten some good luck as he comes to pit road and gets the caution that he needs, and now the leader of this race. Chris, how's the car been out there in the battle, and now you're going to be out in clean air? Is this going to help you a lot?
I don't know. It's really, really loose.
Well, here's the thing. Mom says you need to stop scaring her.
Well, I don't know if that's gonna happen, honestly.
I told her at least you're on a sim, not like in real life. So, I mean, the only thing you could hurt your hands.
Yeah, I don't even think that's gonna happen.
Okay, well, there you go. So that answers my question, because, I mean, if you got like a wheel that vibrates or reacts when you hit a wall or something, that would be the only way to do that. So, how's the racing been? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's been hard. I'm not having a fun night, but I needed some luck, and we got some here.
All right, well, needless to say, let's hope it gets fun for you now as you're up front, get some clean air, and get to battle teammates and others here up front. So best of luck, bud.
Yep, thank you.
All right. That is Christopher Heller leading now. Got his teammate to his outside, and that was his quote, not mine. He said he is not having fun. So he must not like driving a car like just dancing, if we say that best. All right, pace car going to pull in. Lap number 54, and I think this is the opportunity as we come to the green flag for everyone to turn their speakers up. And let's turn it up. All right, find a better sound than Gen 4 cars on Michigan. Oh, that was awesome. And not to mention the battles up front here have been awesome. Henry took the lead from his teammate, and Mark Whitley's now gone to the front. And here comes Carrington with Matthew Weeks, who had a rough pit stop. Back here in the 5th position, Jordan Owens still hanging on to the top 10. Track temp's been hanging around 105 to 110 or so. Carrington puts it on a bomb. See if he slides up here on Heller. Clear. Sure did. And you can't really bump draft down the backstretch, so the only thing Heller can do is check up, and that's going to cost him a little bit of momentum as Weeks gets to the inside. You saw J.W. Miller, by the way, in that 6 car. He was up there in the outside wall there on the restart. He's back here with his hands full with Brad Delph in that Snap Fitness 14. And then, of course, the 60 of Kyle Ether, his teammate. And then right in front of him is Stephen Miles now as Mike Hamlin has made an unscheduled pit stop. I saw he was blinking a little bit, so I wonder if that's what that's about. And also Thomas Stanley in the Mountain Dew Code Red car is on pit road. By the way, I'm giving everybody an invite. Tomorrow, I will probably be on about 10:30 or so, depending on how tired I am when I wake up. Feel free to come join me, as I'm going to do something stupid. Because that's all I do. I am going to run the Bristol 500 lap race in NIS tomorrow. I'll stream it here so you guys can watch. And you can probably listen to me cuss somebody out. Or whatever. Finished second in that race last year, so we'll see. But looking forward to that. It'll be my first actual, I think it's my first full distance race I've tried all year. Oh, nope, I did the 600 at Charlotte. Hello. Sorry about that. As for the leader comes Henry. It'll be fixed for that one. Ooh, Henry, kind of very easy to do with this track is to misjudge the entry. Whitley looked like went to enter the corner. Henry was still going straight basically and not arced it in. And that's where sometimes you can get a wreck or collisions to happen. And it almost did right there going into one. Michigan's one of those tracks very notorious for that as Henry goes to the lead. And it's not really anyone's fault. It's just the way the track is. You get cars that want to turn in, but yet the leader or whoever's the inside doesn't turn in, and bam, you hit each other. Sometimes you wreck. So Henry back to the front here. Let's check on... Oh, Jacob Locklear in trouble. Caution out for the second time as Locklear, I think all that forward as he was spinning. That's sometimes frowned upon in leagues, but either way, caution's out for the second time. happen to the 97? He goes for a spin. Nice. Yeah, if I wasn't doing this race broadcast, I'd probably be doing that tonight, because usually I'll grab an open setup for somebody or whatever and go run it. It's a tough race, especially once you get into long green flag runs. Your arms will actually start cramping up a little bit. 97 gets a little loose there, almost gets to 37, then he gets loose a second time, and unfortunately goes for a spin there, and bam, there's the alt F4. All right, so here we go. As we get closer to the end of the race, remember what I told you. Fuel strategy will always come into play in a race at Michigan. 35 laps to go, which we're about 5 to 10 outside the window. And here come the leaders to pit road, probably to get tires. Jordan Owens actually going to stay out. Drayton Cook, Colby Sutphin, those guys going to stay out here. I understand that play there. The problem is they're going to be probably on older tires here. So it's a risky play here. I'm okay with it. I feel like it's an okay move, but I feel like the risk could hurt them here. And what I mean by that is they're going to fall back through the field here really quickly. However, the trade-off is if they get a late caution in this race, they will have a set of tires sitting there waiting on them. But basically what Owens, Cook, Sutphin, what those guys are doing right now is they are pitting, or they're not pitting here because they know that you're short on fuel. So Owens and Cook and Sutphin are going to hope this race stays green, and then they'll come to pit road probably in about 10 laps and come get their final fuel or whatever to get to the finish of this race, where the rest of these cars are going to have to go all the way to about lap, I would say 95. Oh, I'm usually good there. But thank you. I know people. You get on iRacing for 12 years, you get to know some people. Do many of them like me? That could be another argument, but so as we get ready to come to green, not sure if they're going to. I thought I heard somebody say they're going to give the 31 NEOL here, but we'll see as we're coming to the green here. So they're going to have to make a decision quick. I don't see the car bobbing and weaving anymore, so maybe he's okay here. So we'll see as we come to the green. Sometimes it could be an issue of having multiple programs open or anything. I mean, I've had it where trading paints or Discord or something like that could simply kill your latency and stuff. And so here we go. Jordan Owens leads them to the green. Older tires with the 31, who throws a little bit of a defensive move on Whitley. Colby Sutphin on older tires there too. Here comes the fresh tires to the top side. And Michigan's about to break out. Literally. Look at this mess. A little bit of patience here, and everybody things should work itself out here, I think. Oh, into the wall goes one. That's Drayton Cook. And there goes Steele into the 60, and then Craig Martin tail whips the wall, and there's your caution. Add Josh Dillon to the wreck. Corolla Steele spun around. And if this race did not become a fuel mileage race, it just did. As I said, again, you bring electric cars to this track, it becomes a fuel mileage race. You could turn this into a horse race, it'll turn into a fuel mileage race. You name it, let it come race here. It becomes a fuel mileage race. Here's what happened. Oh, 01 and 31 come together there. I think the 01 maybe stuck his nose. Oh, there's a lick. 01 could have probably waited a little bit here, but he went for it. And unfortunately, Cook still had that real estate. You see Ethier there on the inside. You see Thiel's trying to clear himself of Ethier. Ethier gets out of it. And you see the 74 starts coming up, brings the 01 up, and, well, the 31's still there. He's put himself kind of in a bad spot. And that shoves the 31 to the wall. Drayton not doing anything wrong there. Just, you know, unfortunately, wrong place, wrong time there. And obviously, Thiel's going to get contacted with the 60. Who's going to go down and just miss Tim Averill. And there's Craig Martin. And there's the 12 of Josh Dillon. And wait here a second, because Dillon's going to spin back up the track here. And he has got a surprise coming. That 37 car right there. Boom. So check this out up front. A whole lot of leaders coming in and topping off the fuel. So pretty much 6th place on down. Came to pit road here. All right. I don't usually do this, but this is a good opportunity to show you. I know we could show you onboard cars, but how about I show you this myself? Let's go down and jump on board our little test car here. So how do the cars save fuel in this? So it's just like real life, basically. So you're going to come out here on the track. That's Weeks queuing to Mike saying it would be an EOL if he pits. It will not be, actually. All right, so... All right, say you're under caution now. Get down to pace speed here. Say if we're going 80. You got to save fuel, right? So what you want to do is you're running here behind cars and stuff like that. See that blue line come onto my screen? That's my clutch I just pushed. So right now, I'm running 2,000 RPM. Now, if I go over and hit the I button, which most people have this linked up, I button, shuts my engine off. Completely off. And I'm just coasting. But you want to make sure you have it back on. And you're kind of just trying to keep yourself at speed and just saving fuel. Less off the throttle time and all that kind of thing. Now, this car is also very notorious for not having a lot of drag on it, like the trucks and stuff. So watch this as I get up to speed here before they come to the green. They're coming to the green right now. Let me get up here to 4th gear without spinning out. Now watch this as I go to the front straightaway here. I'm going to literally clutch the car going into the corner. This car is really good at sailing through the air and saving fuel. Watch this. See how the speed's not going down that much? And you get back to the throttle. Yeah, I've lost a little bit of time there, but I just saved a little bit of gas. So, here, I'll do it through the cars here. So right there, just saved a little bit of fuel doing that. So, all right, so let's see what happens. As we come to the green flag here, we will have 28 laps to go with Matthew Weeks, Casey Carrington, Brad Delph, Christopher Heller, Nick Terrell. Those cars did not pit this time. Mark Whitley, the first one with fuel. 28 laps to go. I hope I could teach you guys stuff. That's part of the thing is I know a lot of great streamers out there, but I figured one thing I can do is maybe get out there and show stuff to those who don't get to race on iRacing, or that's 4 wide. As Nick Terrell did not get going, and he's still not going. Getting eaten up like a tater chip. So these guys up front right now are hoping for more yellow, I think, because I do not think they can make it the rest of the way. They were saving fuel during that caution, I'm sure, but I don't think they can make it. It's Whitley and Miles who's up to 4th. Oh, now they're wrecking. The 24 of Sutphin, Chris Lewis involved. And caution out for the 4th time. This actually plays into the hand of those cars that stayed out. See if Weeks shuts the engine off here. Another trick you do is keep the car in 4th gear. Some might shift it. I always keep it in 4th. And the reason being, the lower RPM, the less fuel you burn. And there's Casey saving. All right, let's go see what happened here. Three wide down to turn 1. Somebody blinked up here in front of this pack. And it's Lewis. And Lewis gets loose, doors Leo, and bam. Knocked the fire out of that wall. All right, so Matthew Weeks has come to pit road. Along with Brad Delph, Jackson Van Pelt, Melton, Hinton, Terrell, and Ethier. Amongst those who came to pit road this time by. Let's do some work here for a second. Let's bring up a couple drivers. Let's start with Carrington. I want to talk to him because I want to see where, if he's going to be honest with me. Let's see, because I mean, we all know that Casey Carrington is a very honest person.
Am I?
I sure hope so. Can you save enough fuel?
I'll let you know in about 20 laps.
Oh, you're going to give me that answer?
You want to hear honesty? I don't know. You hear me clutching over here?
We have watched, and you didn't see, probably. I actually went through your car a few minutes ago because I actually showed the viewers how to clutch. So let me put it in your hands now. You're up here in the lead. You're trying to stay behind the pace car, but you're also trying to get run over by Miles. So talk about a little bit what you're doing right now.
But
And I'm going to answer my phone.
yeah, well, hello everybody. Welcome to the Captain Esports Network. I'm taking over. Yeah, so what you can do is when you're under caution, you can not only hit the clutch pedal, which kills the RPM to idle, you can also hit the kill switch on the engine and it cuts the car completely off. So right here, I just cut it off, and then as I start to lose the pace car here, I'll cut it back on, and you're just cutting out 2,000 RPM there for even a couple seconds will save just that little bit of fuel. So I'm doing that out of
Brandon, you
desperation.
gotta
I
come
think
to
I'm
the
kind
top
of
here.
screwed on the strategy, but we'll see. And
Sorry about that.
by the way, you're not muted, Scala. It's all going to hell here, folks. But
I was
yeah, it's been an
gonna
interesting race so far.
You're doing
and,
good.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna do well here. I think I've only got like 2 cars behind me that haven't pitted, so hopefully those guys didn't take tires. If they did, I'm screwed.
You'll
But
be
if
fine.
they, you know, hopefully we can go about 10 laps here before the next caution, and it'll all even out. But we'll see how it goes. Hey, I wish I got the bonus point for leading a lap.
Hey, there you go. All right, man. Best of luck, bud. Appreciate you,
Yep, thank
your
you.
input.
Yeah, I did my best.
You did fine.
And hey, just because I'm the league owner doesn't mean I've got that extra fuel line in the car, so don't start thinking that if I do make it.
Wally Darling Carrington.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Appreciate him doing that for us. As we get ready to come to the green here with 23 laps to go. You know what? That was so much fun. Let's do it again. Twice in one race. Let's turn it up. So 21 laps to go. Carrington with about 0.2 of a second over Whitley, and then Miles in third. Those are all the cars with the gas that can likely make it to the finish. So Carrington is in a little bit of a fight here and in a tough spot with the older tires and fuel. But if anybody can win on a strategy, leave it to that 9 car. Won that Nashville race last season on 2 tires, so... But we heard what Casey wanted when we talked to him. He said if we can get 10 laps or so and then get that yellow, he would be a happy camper. So 19 laps to go. It's down to 2/10 with Whitley. Henry right there about 0.8 of a second back. Heller's fallen all the way back to the 8th position on older tires. So everybody who pitted at lap 70 are up there towards the front right now. Matthew Weeks up to 11th right now as he pitted at lap 75. So if anyone is good to go on fuel, it's that guy right there, especially if this race goes to overtime. Remember, in the 2 races so far at this track, we've gone to overtime once, so it's a 50% average. Up front, Whitley trying to get around the 9. Somehow that 01 is still cranking after being involved in a couple accidents. And here he is, Steele running 10th, battling with Young for 9th. Young having a great race. Tim Averill, good comeback for him up there in 12th. He's had a struggle tonight. Oh, sliding across that nose. Miller and Owens back here side by side for the 5th position. So the curious question now is I got to think about this and figure this out. Who has tires left? Does anybody have a set of tires laying into pits? Drayton Cook could be one. I'm looking at those who've pitted 3 times. Heller might be one. Jordan Owens, Casey Carrington. Those 4 might be those with a set of tires in the pits. So we'll have to keep an eye if we do get a yellow here. Obviously, I'm not trying to jinx anything or whatever. I'm just putting all the perspectives out there of what we got in this race right now. There's always that game of if this, then that. As here comes Whitley for the lead. Should be able to clear himself right here. Carrington could get a run off. Oh, he lost it right there. He was going to get the run, but then the back end just could not grip. The forward drive gives Mark Whitley the lead. Henry's going to take the momentum to second. And now you'll probably see that 9 fall a little bit because of the dirty air. I could be wrong here. He goes back to the inside. See what I know? Oh, caution. Tim Averill in trouble. And that's exactly what Casey wanted, was the 10 laps and a caution. So here we go to find out who has tires, who doesn't. And this is flip the race again. And Brantley Roden just slammed his laptop, I bet. What happened to Abril? Riding behind Thiel. And just loses the back end and just goes for a lazy spin. Once again, right there in that dirty air. Let's look at it one more time here before the cars come to pit road. You know, his car kind of slides up, gets a little tight there, turns the wheel, and it just breaks loose, tight loose. That's what they call that. All right, here we go. What happens? Well, the whole field's coming to pit road. Kyle Ethier stays out. And obviously, it's going to be very hard to point this out, so I'm going to see if I can do the best I can. Watch the car's right side. If you see the right side lift up, they're changing tires. Ignore my, well, you're not going to see Whitley because my car's sitting there. All right, Henry changing tires. The 20's got tires. The 1. Looks like everybody's got tires. Race off pit road. Whitley gets it. As I look at the times, yeah, everybody's taking tires, so everybody must have had a set of tires, which, wow, surprises me. Tim Abril went with 2 tires there to try to save his track position. I think he lost with the spin. So who's going to break it to Nick Terrell and Kyle Ethier? The news that, hey, there's tires behind you. So, here's another trick. I seem to be letting out tricks tonight, which I'm okay with because I feel like in these kind of leagues that I broadcast, you get viewers in here that don't race, like I said, on iRacing, or maybe don't know about these little tricks. So feel free to chime in if you're somebody who doesn't race on iRacing, or maybe you're new to it. One of the tricks that you could have seen drivers do here is less fuel. When you have a loose race car like you have out here on this track tonight, one thing that will tighten the car up, because remember, this is a fixed setup. You can't change any wedge or tire pressures or anything like that. The only things you can change right now are your brake bias, front and back, and that's about it. So how do you adjust the car if it's loose? Well, if you take less fuel, it puts more weight at the front of the car. Obviously, at that point, it, well, tightens the car up a little bit. Gives it more downforce and that kind of thing. So when you get the weight in the back of the car with the fuel, obviously it makes the car looser. So let's see if anybody did that to maybe tighten the car up, put a little more weight towards the front end, plowing the right front. So let's see what happens here. As we're going to have 9 laps to go, plus potential overtime. Kyle Ethier inside lane, that Marion car, getting doored already by a Doritos car. Things are getting chippy up front, if I may say. 77-39, second row there. Carrington and Miles, row 3. I'm sure somebody's throwing something at me right now. Got to be careful of tire spin here. And what a start by Ethier. That just put Whitley in the catbird seat. As here he comes on the outside as they just jump and move Dillon to the side. Ethier going to battle. Here comes Carrington as the pack catches back up. 3 wide down the back. about to see some speeds now. First side-by-side, you see Corolla Steel inside of Leo back there. Otherwise, single file, first 6 positions. Carrington knocked about a 10th into that time there as he actually just ran the fastest lap of the race. And not to mention, Carrington's lap was the pole just now, 38.48. That was the pole lap that was ran early in qualifying. So qualifying speeds being ran right now with 6 laps to go. Let's do a little speed trap here. 202 mile an hour with a screaming motor. Leo back there side by side with the 74. You see Theo popping back out on Miller for 5th. Corolla's going to clear. Here comes Jordan Owens, and there's Matthew Weeks, who, unfortunately, probably going to be a little disappointed. And trouble back here with Dylan and Ethier. No caution as everybody stayed straight. Three laps to go. Oh, Theo kind of trying to get as much of the outside as he can to get into the corner. Clips the outside wall. You see Owens pushing up a little bit. Carrington's been able to get it down to about 0.2 of a second. That's been about, the 74 about ran over the 20. And he might still run over the 20. And he does run over the 20. And they go saving it, maybe. Into the grass. No caution still. That one time where I'm actually happy I muted the chat. Oh, Whitley gets loose. Here comes Carrington with a run. Michigan has produced some of the best finishes in racing history, and we might be about to see one in 2 miles. Final lap. Do not count out Miles or Henry yet. Mark Whitley trying to do something that only one other driver has done in the history of this league, and that's win 3 straight races. Carrington sends it in there, gets a little loose. The battle to the checkered flag. Mark Whitley makes history and wins at Michigan. 3rd win in a row. Miles ends up 3rd, Henry 4th, Corolla Steel 5th. And that's, by the way, your top 2 in points right there. Finishing 1-2. Question now, how good's Whitley on a road course? That's his next obstacle for 4 in a row, would be the road course at Watkins Glen. Great job on the burnout there. And I don't know what Craig Martin's doing, but okay over there. Is that a Canadian burnout? I think he's Canadian. I could be wrong by that one. Anyways, take a look at the finishing order. And what turns out to be a fantastic race here tonight. Whitley wins, I should say, over Carrington. Stephen Miles comes back to get third. Zach Henry, Corolla Steele, after being involved in an accident about 20 laps ago, comes back and gets a top 5 finish for the 01. So nice job there. J.W. Miller, top 5 most of the night, right around 4th to 7th, finishes 6th. Matthew Weeks, sure, he's not going to be too happy, ends up 7th. Excuse me again. Nick Leo 8th. Christopher Heller finishes 9th. Jackson Van Pelt puts the Lucky Charms car in the top 10. Kyle Hall misses out, finishing 11th. Brad Delph. Jordan Owens going to be disappointed, and trust me, he's not happy with what I heard there. Finishing 13th. Craig Martin 14th. Justin Ray 15th. Colby Sutphin 16th with Brandon Hinton in 17th. Chris Melton in the 18th position. As we look at the rest of the finishing order here tonight, Sean Cassidy 20th or 19th. Darrell Young Jr. 20th. Had a good run most of the night up there in the top 10. Tim Averill 21st. Drayton Cook 22nd. Nick Terrell 23rd. John Kreidler 24th. Thomas Stanley, Kyle Ethier are going to be very disappointed with 26th after that accident, him and Josh Dillon. Chris Lewis finishing in the 28th position. 29th to Jacob Locklear. Mike Hamlin 30th. And Dalton Wilson 31st in the race here this evening. As we'll talk to our top 3 drivers as Whitley and Carrington up there chatting it out there about how great of a finish that was. And right now let's talk to Stephen Miles, who has been working really hard and gets himself a top 3 finish. Stephen, obviously, I know, I kind of shared the story a little bit about how we hang out at times and stuff, and how I kind of caught you yesterday when I was out at work. You were running laps here at Michigan in the AI cars. And obviously the strategies of different things. I noticed you were a little bit of a long run car. I heard you and Casey talking a little bit about how you felt you could got to him in the long run. But nonetheless, man, a good third place effort. I know it's not a win, but I'm sure it's going to help you points wise.
Yeah, man, it was a good race. You know, I don't know how, but I made myself into a long run driver to the point where I feel a little bit slower on the short run, but there at the end, I felt like I needed to save a lap or 2 of tires to really try to get to him at the end instead of burn off. And that restart, I could have took the 39 3 wide and tried to get him out the way so I could lower my chances, well, upgrade my chances. But I mean, he stood there and I let him go, and then I was able to pass him. And I felt, well, I seen the lap times I was faster the last 2 laps, but I need about 5 laps, man. But it's so hard to get a top 3 in this lead. I gotta be humble and appreciate this, man. And it was a good race though. I wish it would have kept going long runs there at the end, especially when we had to save fuel and all that. I felt like I had enough tires and enough fuel to get all those guys up there in the top 3 or 4. But I mean, we'll take this momentum and keep going. It was a good points day for us, for the team too.
Well, great job tonight, obviously, as you mentioned, the team. And your end, obviously, you came in 6th in points. So I'll get the points updated here in a second once I see it posted. But coming out of this race, now you go to a road course. And so how important was it to get that good finish here tonight?
It was very important. You know, me and road courses is just hold on and try to get the best finish and get a top 10 to conserve the points. But how this schedule set up, the mile and a half and everything, man, I'm excited. These guys will make you faster. I tell you that, man. It was just a long run. I was good with the throttle, but the short run, you know, you can still drive it hard and all that. But I think I burned my stuff up when I got the lead halfway, and I learned from that right there. Like even 2 or 3 laps extra on
Hmm.
your tires was a big difference. So I was gonna stretch it out, and that caution came out, and I mean, I was thanking God at that point that we could just reset and try to get that win, but we was close tonight.
I would say talk a little bit about the strategy there at the beginning. You were the first to come to pit road at 25 there. Obviously, probably planning to split the race in threes, 25, 50, 75. How much just those 2 laps were a difference on tires?
Yeah, I wanted to do that 25, 50, 75, because you know you get that little extra jump up there. I felt I lost a lot of ground just following behind. I don't know if I was third or fourth or fifth, somewhere around
Right.
there, but I just wanted to gain some track position. And when I got that lead, I felt I was burning it up a little bit more than I wanted to. So then I started saving. And I let them go, you know, every time they caught me. But then once I started to try to maintain, I couldn't maintain. And I'll look at the lap times. That whole run, I was 2 tenths slower. It doesn't matter what I did, and how I drove the car. So it's you know, some tracks are different. Some tracks you'll get that 2 or 3 laps like Indy and get that lead, and they can't really catch you on the middle to end the run. But Michigan's different. 1 or 2 laps is a big difference. That's why we all came and got them 4 fresh rubbers when it was like 10 to go with that caution, because they knew. I mean, ain't no stand. You seen what happened with to the guys that stayed out.
Yeah.
So I mean, you just a roadblock. So it's strategy, it's luck, it's clean air. Everything plays into win this. But hopefully, one time this season I get that W.
I'm sure it's coming, dude. Great job tonight. Send some shout outs whoever you like to.
Marion Chrysler and Dodge, man, one of the top dealerships in North Carolina, in Asheville, North Carolina. So go check those guys out online. Chris Lewis, J.W. Miller, Kyle Ether, one of the best. I mean, we was enemies at one point, now we're best
Yeah.
friends. So and he helped me. He had some bad luck. J.W. came in at 6. So I mean, we got a good team. We're second or first in the standings right now. So I want to thank them. I want to thank you. Thank Casey Carrington for running this amazing league, man, and thank God and my girlfriend. That'll be it.
Absolutely, man. Great job. You're fifth in points now. It looks like you jumped over some guy named Ether in the points.
I'm
So great.
tied with somebody probably. So
Actually, no, you're all by yourself there in fifth. So
okay,
there you go. Good job, man.
thank you.
Absolutely. Stephen Miles finishing in the third position tonight, moves up to fifth in points. He is unofficially 46 out of the point lead after tonight's race. And I'll pull him up here with these guys. And we'll bring in our second place finisher, Casey Carrington, who, well, ironically, I brought up 2004, where Kane finished second to Ryan Newman. And, well, here
That
you
race
are.
needed an extra 2 laps as well, just like tonight.
I don't know if 2 laps would have got. I think one
Well,
lap he wins
it
that.
needed the yellow not to come out.
You needed 2 or 3 laps. Kane, I think, was going to win that race in a lap. But needless.
I'll concede Casey Kane's a better driver than I am, so he didn't need as much time to get the lead.
He might have a few more wins than you. But hey, great job tonight. Still,
I made a lot more money.
Fair, and still out there making more money. But needless to say, tonight, man, it was a race where I think the strategies it looked like helped you get up into the top 5 and into the top 3 and competing for this win. It was just a matter of you keeping it up there.
Yeah, starting in the back, you got a long way to go. I mean, you think about it, Whitley and Henry and all those guys had probably a straightaway gap on me after about 5 laps into the race. So, of course, the cautions help making that up. But coming through the traffic, it's always you got to. I don't know, man. Sometimes I feel like I do better when I start in the back because it always me more patient. Because they were faster than me, obviously at the start. That's why they qualified up there, and I qualified 20th. But we'll ignore me hitting the wall there in qualifying. Hopefully, it wasn't on the broadcast. But as the race comes out, it's always how it is for me. Just at the end of the race is when I'm the fastest, and I guess that's the way you want it to be. But either way, I mean, I'm not going to complain too much. Starting 20th, needing a miracle to make it through the field without getting in a wreck, which I did. Needing a caution there in the last 15 laps, which I got, and being able to hang on to second. I mean, yeah, I can bellyache about needing 2 or 3 more laps to get around Whitley. He was saying that in the waiting room, that he felt the same way. I was about a tenth faster than him there at the end, but hey, it was a good race. It was good points night, I guess. I mean, I guess I technically lost some ground to him, but still, I'll take it.
Well, obviously, I mean, yeah, you lose some points, but I guess it's like the best of a bad situation, finishing second to the guy who, um, is the point leader now and that kind of thing. But
Well, and he's now only the second person to ever three-peat
which is
3 All-American wins in a row, which I didn't even think about until just now.
which he's perfect segue because that's kind of where I was going. We weren't here, and I say we as in myself, the Captain Esports Network, or well, it's just me.
Yeah.
Was not here back when John Eckert was doing what he was doing in your series, and I think it's easy when you look at the numbers to say that he was almost the Richard Petty of this series, the way he just went out there and won everything. And in the early times of the series. So talk a little bit about, you were here obviously because you found this league, what John did and now how much tougher it is almost for Mark to be doing this.
Yeah, I mean, Eckert's he's a great driver. He's one of the best I ever raced with. And I we're talking about him in the past tense like he's deceased, but he's just not racing here with us anymore. But no, I mean, he's been around for, I think started iRacing when I was still like 12, so he's probably got hundreds of wins, like you said, kind of the Richard Petty. But yeah, I mean, at the same time though, like the average driver quality of the league at that point, I mean, I'd only been on iRacing for like 6 months when this league started. Kyle was still kind of, everybody that's still here. Rogers, I mean, it took him 3 seasons to get his first win, and you know how good he is. So, yeah, I'm sure if Eckert was still here, he'd be up here battling with us. It probably would have been him and Whitley for the win. But I mean, yeah, what Mark's doing in the most competitive era of this league, I mean, he's just, no offense to everybody else, but I think it's pretty fair to say that he's, pound for pound, I guess you could say, the fastest driver in All-American right now.
Well, that was fun to watch, obviously, between you guys, and well said, obviously, for the history of the league, and I think it's perfect for those watching tonight to kind of see, what 6 seasons has brought to this series. But, man, great job tonight on your end, finishing second, another great run, and send some shouts whoever you like to.
Yeah, I just want to kind of shout out the league on the subject that we're talking about. I mean, it's just, this is absolutely the highest level of competition we've ever had here after 6 seasons. I mean, you would think it would kind of get a little more, I don't know, a little more F1 like, I guess you could say, now that we're with the Gen 4 car and the skill gaps increased. But man, I mean, the improvement. I want to shout out a guy like Corolla Steele. I mean, I don't know where he finished tonight, but
5th.
I mean, that is a guy, and he doesn't want me to mention it, but I kicked him out of this league probably 3 times for just being a menace on the track in maybe the first year or so of the league. I mean, he was just I can't think of a back marker. If you know the Ken Alexander Bristol race from like 20 years ago, that was kind of Corollas's role the first year or so, and yeah, and for him to be back and not only just to be decent, but he's improved so much, and I'm glad that he had a good finish tonight to kind of show that off, because I think by the end of the season he'll probably be a podium contender up there, probably running me down and screwing me out of points. But anyway, shout out to you for doing the broadcast. Shout out to everybody that watched tonight, everybody that watches every week. This is the most fun I've ever had in iRacing we've had here this season so far, so glad everybody can be a part of it. Big shout out to Joseph doing race control. He makes the wheels turn. Without him, this whole thing would fall apart. God, big shout out to Mike Husby, they Mitch Designs. Big shout out to Kyle. He's been here since day one. There's not a whole lot of us that are still around from then. But, God, I'm getting along. I know you got a long Whitley interview coming up, so I'll shorten that. Shout out to everybody, my teammates, Josh Dillon. Shout out to Nick Terrell for running with us. He's not necessarily a team driver, but he's my old school teammate. First friend I ever made on iRacing, really. And,
whoa. I got to cut you off for a second. Sorry. You're thanking
what?
Nick Terrell, who might have hurt you from winning this race.
No, we're not gonna. Hey, we've endurance raced together for like 2.5 years, and I've just this summer taken achievements and wins away from him with my own screw up. So I guess we're even. But
Right.
but no, shout out to my dad. It's his birthday today. He doesn't watch the broadcast. Sorry,
Your
but
dad shares a birthday with my wife.
hey, how about that? But yeah, shout out to him, and yeah, shout out to everybody that's still watching, because you're about halfway through the interview process right now, so
We're getting there. Hey, shout out.
we got another hour of Captain Esports Network post race coming up here on the Captain Esports Network.
That's what happens when you have a good race. We get a longer broadcast now.
Yeah, and I'm in a good mood for once. I mean, we had a bunch of cautions there at the end, and I'm still in a good mood.
Is that on the bingo card?
I don't know.
Man, I see Wesley Donaldson's joined the league chat on Discord, so there you go.
Oh, here comes the Sim 500 invasion.
Look
We might have to have a pay-per-view race to settle it.
out now. We're not the ASA series. Anyways,
Yeah.
did you? I was gonna say give shout outs, but I think you already did.
Yeah, I shouted out everybody, but I want to shout out my third grade teacher, Mrs. Fletcher, and my Little League baseball coach, Coach Jones, and yeah, that's everybody.
Oh my gosh! Thanks for coming, everybody.
Thanks for coming out tonight, guys.
All right, man.
It's not just a game; it's iRacing. See ya.
There's only one thing you haven't done.
I'm not reading that thing. I'll get
Okay.
Willie in here so we can wrap it
All
up.
right, 10-4. All right, Casey Carrington finishes second here. Oh my gosh, we're having too much fun here. Whitley, help me. Second time in
Okay.
history somebody's won 3 races in a row, and it wasn't easy for you tonight.
Not even a little. This track usually gives me fits. I didn't really. I was kind of shocked by the pole position. I did not think we had that kind of speed, especially from practice.
Mhm.
I guess the track just changed enough to help us out a little bit, and I kept trying to save the tires the whole race, and somehow the right rear just didn't like it, and was still, getting eaten up. So, I was just kind of hanging on, trying to do whatever I could, try whatever I could to keep up with 11 into 53, and I really didn't know. I thought it was going to take some finagling to be able to run with them for the race, and we got a lot of cautions at the end that kind of played into our benefit and kind of play a little strategy coming in when we did, because from that point I knew it'd be, as long as you saved like half a lap, you could make it from that point, and I think that was a turning point of a race for us, because then we got a couple laps and a caution came out, and we stayed out for that one, and all those guys that didn't come in the last time, they did, so that put us back up front, and that was them at the back, and we got a good little run there. Caution came out, we were able to get fresh tires, and I just kind of drove it like I stole it and running qualifying laps, and I'm glad there wasn't 1 or 2 more laps, because I don't think I could have held Casey off the right. I finally started using that right front, and it was getting real tight getting into 3. So glad there was exactly 8 laps left, or however many it was, because if there had been 1 more or 2 more, I think we would have been probably talking to you either second, third, maybe even fourth. So worked out in our favor. 3 wins in a row. That's pretty good. Wasn't expecting it coming into the night, but I'll definitely take it, and just ever so slightly expand the points lead just by a couple points, over Casey. Every cushion helps. So we'll hopefully keep carrying the momentum on to next week.
How cool is it to get out there with, I'll call it 5, but I mean, that's just off the top of my head. I can think of 5 drivers that were with you there tonight battling, and to be able to fight for positions 1 through 6, basically. I think you ran in each one of those spots. Like, I think all of you guys ran in those specific spots throughout the night with the different pit strategies, with the tire wear, with the draft. The craziness I was watching tonight, what caught my eye the most was how we'll use Zach Henry for an example. You and Zach would run different lanes in the corner, but then almost coming off the corner, if you got anywhere near the same line he was in coming off, how the car just snapped.
Yeah, especially it was just kind of like, if you got to run on somebody coming off the corner, I mean, if you had to try to yank it low to where you wouldn't run them over, I mean, the car just would not like it. The rear end would just,
Right.
step out on you. So it was really trying to, if you get a run on somebody, you had to kind of roll out of the throttle a little bit, which kind of, you lost some of your run just so you could actually, point the nose and get up under them. Some of these newer cars like the Gen 6, the next gen car, you can really kind of point the nose and it'll just kind of go. Or this one, you try to yank it left real quick. I mean, you might be spinning to the inside, going for the lead to going all the way back to the tail end. So it's just real, like, especially coming off the corner, there's not a lot of load on the rear of the car. Mm-hmm. So you make those quick darty movements, it just gets real snappy and just real light. So it's just a handful, and you gotta really be careful with it.
Well, great job tonight, man. Congratulations, 3rd win of the season and of, in a row, obviously, as you continue to stretch that points lead out. And let's send some shout-outs over you like to, bud.
Hey, a big shout-out, Brantley, Harpoon Design. I had the idea to change the color up real quick from red to blue on this car, and I told him, I think it's 7:35, and he had it done by 7:55, so he got it done in 20 minutes.
Wow.
So and he he was in the middle of reinstalling Windows. He's having some computer issues, so appreciate all the hard work, the quick work he does. Glad we're able to put this kind of new paint scheme, more just a color change in the victory lane. Check him out at harpoondesign.com. He also he does a great job, and he's got like almost 2,000 paints on Trade and Paint at this point. So check him out. He's got something for everybody. And a big shout out to Daryl, one of my teammates. He really liked Michigan, so I kind of told him about it, and he got in here and ran tonight. I know he didn't have the night he wanted, but he's a pretty good driver here, so I'm glad he was here. Always fun racing with teammates. And shout out to the league. We had a lot of green flag racing at the beginning of the race. I know at the end of it got a little clustered, but I can't really complain about it because it really worked out in our favor. So, shout out to the league for all the great drivers, and for you for putting on a great broadcast. It should be fun to go back and watch. Hopefully my heart won't jump out of my chest like it was those last 10 laps. Be a little bit easier. Just sit back and have some popcorn and watch the end of the race and actually be able to enjoy it instead of being all anxious.
Nah, it was boring. It ain't gonna be fun to watch. Come on, I ruined it. No, I'm just kidding. It was fun. It was definitely a lot of fun. So great job tonight, man. Congratulations, and we'll talk next week.
Oh yeah, I forgot one thing.
Yeah.
Shout out to my family tuning these broadcast races. I appreciate them. No matter what day of the week it is, no matter how late it is, they're always tuning in. I really appreciate it. So thank y'all for tuning in, and I'll see y'all later.
Let me add a little thing. This just popped in my head real quickly. This man is getting on such a hot streak. I do this iRacing UI AI thing where basically I bring league members in, and basically artificial intelligence races, full distance races, and that kind of thing. I'll let everyone who's watching still take a guess who won the Coke 600 at Charlotte in that league. It's that guy right there. Yeah. So he's winning everything right now.
I need to check that out.
Yeah, it was actually unique. Two cautions, one caution, something like that. Anyways, so great job, man. Congratulations, and we'll talk next week.
All right, later.
All right, bud. Mark Whitley, the winner tonight here in Michigan, and now he gets to go try to do it on a road course. So that ought to be interesting. We'll see how good he does there. Turning right was it 7 times and 4 the other left, or left the other 4, whatever the proper English is there. Yeah. Anyways, man, what a race that was. That was a lot of fun. Good way to start the weekend here. And for those who DVR'd the Xfinity race, looks like you got a fun one to watch there too. So, anyways, it should be a pretty good weekend. Let's go enjoy it and go from there. So appreciate everybody for watching us here. Thanks, Casey Carrington, for allowing us to broadcast, of course, the All-American Cup Series here on the Captain Esports Network. Big shout out to the viewers. Appreciate those guys watching. I think we got up to close to 20, I think, at one point in the race. So that was pretty cool. So again, tomorrow, if you're not doing anything around noon or just whenever for the next 3 or 4 hours, rec pending, I will be running the Bristol race for NIS. We'll probably run some laps at about 10:30 or 11. Get out there, run laps, get used to the Cup car again, and get myself into a rhythm, and then come back at noon and run 500 laps around Bristol. So, should be fun. Looking forward to that. So, anyways, enjoy the rest of your Friday night. Enjoy your weekend. And always remember, this isn't just a game. It's iRacing. See ya.
Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless. A sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it. And I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Yeah, don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day exploring.
My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great.